Leah and Sowe slept in a loft constructed of wooden beams and rails, with a sturdy floor and a ladder connecting it to the ground below. Stores of spices, nutmeg, cinnamon, poicier, cardamom, along with sacks of milled grain, sheaves of oats, pumpkins, and small vats of treacle crowded most of the space. The heavier barrels and sacks were stored beneath them on the floor. Chapter 4, Pasqua's Kitchen. Greetings, this is Sean, and I'm going to start today's video off by explaining something that happened here. One of my hard drives went out on me, and I lost a lot of my old footage, as well as some footage that I was working on. I was working on the interior walls, the patterning and the carving of the grout lines of the brick patterns and stuff like that. And I unfortunately lost all of that video, and so I'm not going to be able to show you how I made the walls and painting them and all that kind of stuff. Fortunately, I was working on another part of the project for my kitchen, which is the loft area. Now, as you saw in the introduction there, the loft is where the main character Leah and her friend Sowe live. That's where they sleep, and it's in the kitchen, and it sits above the kitchen floor, about 10 feet up or so. And so I have built that already, and that's what this video is going to be about, obviously. But fortunately, that footage was saved on another hard drive, and so I didn't lose any of that. So I'm going to show you how I make the loft, which I have the loft here. This is what it's going to look like. It'll sit above the floor, and once I get the walls all put together, then this will attach to it. This is actually the front of it that you're seeing here, and then this is the back here, and that's the floor that they sit on, and the underneath side there. It does look rather dusty, but that's because I actually dusted it that way, and I don't have that footage, unfortunately. That was actually on my other hard drive. I put things in different hard drives depending on what stage of my editing and stuff like that I'm at, is why I don't have certain footage right now. But anyway, what I did was, after I stained it, which you'll see later on, I use these little pens here. They're called, they're by Rust-Oleum. Excuse me. And they're called enamel stain markers. And this is actually an enamel paint, and so it won't warp the wood like acrylic will. And this one is the grime flavor, or the grime color. And I also used a little bit of this one here called concrete. I have a whole bunch of these different ones that I picked up really cheap at Hobby Lobby. But anyway, what I did was I applied the stain to the wood, and then I let it sit for a few seconds, and then I just wiped it all off to give it that dusty look. See, it's not actually dusty and dirty, it's actually stained to look that way. So anyway, just wanted to show you that, because that part won't be shown on the video, but I did want to show you how I did that. And anyway, stick around and let me know what you think in the comments, and I'll let you know what's going on along the way. And as always, have a better day, as I always say. And here's all the parts that I'm going to be using to build the loft with. Actually, there's some of those floor slats there, and a couple of the floor supports I end up not using, which you'll see here in a little bit. But anyway, that's all the parts. I'm not going to worry too much about the lengths of them, and whatnot. But just going to move some things out of the way and get started gluing things together. that rail there that I'm holding is the back rail, and it's a back beam, I guess, and it'll be sitting along one of the walls in between two of the fireplaces. And if you recall, in a couple videos back, I had used a video and it was warped. This is the stick that was actually warped, and that's why I'm kind of sanding it a little bit. And actually, off camera, I tried to bend it back a little bit so that it's a little bit straighter. So, anyway, what I'm doing is I'm just marking spacing for the floor joists to go on, and there you can see I'm going in about a half an inch on each side, just as a reference mark. I actually made a CAD drawing of this so that I knew how far to space things out and whatnot, but that got ruined in my hard drive collapse. So, the great hard drive collapse of 2021. So, and I store my glue bottle upside down so that I don't have to keep shaking it, and that's why it keeps pouring out of the tip, which that's fine. It'll clean off of the mat really easily. So I think later on I actually pour some out onto it so it's easier, so I don't have to worry about having the bottle open. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to use one of the sticks. There. I'm going to use one of the sticks to space in between the two outside ones, just a single stick wide, and then the rest of them I've got another stick that I'll bring in that is twice as wide, that'll go in between the remaining ones. You'll see what I'm talking about here in a minute. Trying to make them somewhat evenly spaced out. Yeah, they're a little crooked, but there, it'll start to straighten out now. I don't know where my measurement went wrong, but you can see there on the right hand side that I kind of goofed a little bit. And that third one from the right is actually too short, and as you'll see here in a little bit, I actually end up taking it out and leaving it out. I don't know how I messed that up, so there's oopsie number one. And then I'm just going to clamp them together to hold them until it cures, the glue cures. The reason I have the ruler on there is I wanted them all flat. You know, I was going to put a weight on there to weigh them down, but I don't think I did that. But I just wanted to make sure that they were all flat against the the mat. So here they are, all clamped up. Is that clamp overkill? I don't know. Now I'm going to put the floor slats on. And I ended up making a few too many, but it worked out that I actually made too many of them, because the other two I'll end up using as a to make the ladder for it later on. I don't do that in this one, but anyway, now it's just a matter of gluing those in place. I didn't want to make them too even. I wanted it to be a little bit rickety looking, so I didn't worry too much about spacing them out. Now I'm going to do the handrail here, which I had a special piece cut for it already. And here I'm just basically lining it up with my grid, and then I will just evenly space the balusters. Decided to use CA glue to glue these down. I don't know why. I could have used tacky glue here, but I was in kind of a hurry, I believe. I didn't want to have to hold it. And then I've got my accelerator there that helps to cure it quicker. I'm using a thick gel CA glue, which I think that bottle that I've got is really old. I think I've had it for 2 or 3 years now, and I ended up actually, since this video, I've got some new super glue that works better, or CA glue, sorry. And a few of them do end up being a little bit crooked, but that's okay. Like, it's an old building, it's an old loft, so I'm not overly concerned about how they look. And yeah, you can see it's a little bit warped and crooked. And like I said before, it's, that beam was a little bit crooked anyway. So, but again, it adds to the crookedness and the ricketiness and the oldness of the loft. So here I am, just a real quick staining of it. I'm going to use a little foam brush there to apply it. I'm using this dark walnut wood stain. It was very similar to the dark wood that you saw at the beginning when I showed the example that I'm going off of that I'm using. Here I'm showing you 3 different views that I had going, just so you can see different ways, different angles of me painting or staining this. And I've got a piece of paper down on my mat because this is an oil-based stain that I'm using. While doing this, the oil actually ate away at the CA glue on the balusters, and the handrail ended up falling off, so I had to end up re-gluing it, which I think I do off. I don't do it here. I don't show that here, but I ended up having to re-glue that. So. But anyway, that's the stain job. Then I'm just going to wipe it all off. I didn't want it so dark, and I wanted to make it look kind of streaky, so I just took some paper towel to wipe it off. And that's how I did the staining. And like I said, I didn't show how I did the dusting, but here you're going to see some close-ups of the finished with the dusting. So anyway, that's the loft, and as soon as I get the walls all put together and fireplace is in place, I'll install this on there, and then I'll show the finished installation of it. So anyway, let me know what you think in the comments below. Hope you found this somewhat entertaining, or at least informative. And as always, have a better day, as I always say.